Good afternoon. Welcome to Thinking is Contagious. Just finished hearing Joe Biden's press conference, if you want to call it. I call it a monologue. Uh, Patting himself on the back for ending the Afghan war. Uh, very quick and very certain to point out that Donald Trump uh, negotiated handing over 5,000 hostages. Donald Trump left the ISIS stronger than they had been at any time since 2001. Those are his claims, you know. Bottom line, a old codger delivering a monologue, refusing and advised by his people not to take any questions because he would be roasted, trying to deflect blame. If I hear one more second of that pious, solemn, trying to be the grandfatherly old man that worries about everyone and is concerned with the safety of Americans and all Americans, and he keeps saying and women and girls. That's his favorite thing. Of course, men don't count. A white man doesn't count in this world anymore. The lowest rung on the totem pole in American society is a white man. If you're a white man, you are guilty until you can prove yourself innocent in this country at this point. But anyway, we transgress. We have this white old man, which is very obvious that he's there as the Trojan horse that was led in to do the bidding and deliver the agenda of the left. And today you heard it with Afghanistan, with his declaration of ending the war. First of all, it was not a war. There was 5,000 troops there. We were providing air support and intelligence. We were not fighting on the front lines. There had not been a death until Biden had 13 killed, until the Biden administration, with his chaotic retreat from Afghanistan, cost 13 American service members their lives. There had not been a death in Afghanistan of American soldiers, a casualty, since January of 2020. So Joe Biden has blood on his hands. Joe Biden orchestrated a chaotic, senseless removal of American troops from Afghanistan before civilians were removed. He orchestrated it. The undertaking started while he and his staff were all on vacation. This is an old, senile codger. Yesterday, when he addressed his FEMA director, as someone who knew Louisiana so well, the word boy was used. His FEMA director is an African American. There's some people who say he was trying to say an old boy. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt that that's what he was saying, okay? You wouldn't have given that benefit of the doubt to Donald Trump. Boy, in that situation, even if he said, oh boy, Trump would have been crucified. But since this is the left's Trojan horse, this is the left's puppet, let's give him the benefit of the doubt that he wasn't calling him a boy. But let's be very clear that the key to that entire presentation, Biden addressing the New Orleans and addressing Louisiana and addressing the country as to the situation with Hurricane Ida, was his incoherent delivery. He couldn't even remember the names of his people. He was stuttering and slurring his speech. He couldn't even understand any of the factors he had to deliver to the American audience. They were all forgotten. And it was so obvious that he was completely lost that it was embarrassing. And any country that saw that, any individual that saw that, had to realize what an embarrassment it is that that's the man that is supposedly the president of the most powerful nation in the world. He is comatose. He is senile. He is incapacitated. He is incapable of leading. And today, in addressing the nation, you saw it again. He delivers his monologue. He turns slowly so he doesn't keel over and fall on his face, and shuffles away. He can't walk. He shuffles to keep his feet close to the ground so he doesn't fall. This was an embarrassment. It continues to be an embarrassment. And afterwards, on NBC, the financial network, CNBC, afterwards, Shep Smith, who I'm sick of as well, Shep Smith interviews someone and asks him, was this the way, was the exit out of Afghanistan as Biden presented it? Because Biden in his monologue said the mission went down as planned. The removal of the troops from Afghanistan went down as planned. That was his claim. Shep Smith asked an analyst there who has covered these military situations what his thoughts were. And the guy said, absolutely not. He said, all my contacts in Afghanistan said it was total chaos. People couldn't get to the airport. People were not safe. And people died because of Joe Biden's decisions. Robert Gates has told us repeatedly he's almost always wrong. He continues to be almost always wrong. He lied about the Afghanistan war. It was not a war. Hasn't been a war for a long time. He lied about what was left behind. He lied about the civilians. He lied about the Afghanistanians who were there supporting America and were left abandoned. He lied. He lied about the equipment, the helicopters, the warfare, the machinery, everything that was left behind. He lied about it. We handed over billions and billions of dollars worth of technology to the enemy, who has torn it apart to understand our technology, to understand how we have built machinery that is so far ahead of the rest of the world, and it's now in the hands of the enemy. Joe Biden needs to be removed from office. Joe Biden needs to be relieved of duty. Joe Biden needs to be prevented from killing any more Americans. Joe Biden has the blood of 13 Americans on his hands right now. And then he comes across as the saintly, concerned man who's there worried about the American citizens, quoting Bible, talking about spiritual things. He can't even receive communion in his church, in his Catholic church. He was denied communion in his Catholic church because of his stance on abortion. Joe Biden is a disease that has afflicted this country for 48 years. The disease was not in its final killer stages until this last year, last 8 months, when he was made. Notice the word, I'm not saying elected, when he was made president. And now the disease is running rampant, and it's about to kill again and again and again. And the saddest part of all this is that the tag team, when they eliminate him, because his party will turn on him and remove him from office, they will do so themselves, as we have predicted here from the beginning. But the sad part is that the tag team partner is far worse. My only hope is, my gut tells me that the incompetent one, Kamala, the person that is vice president based on gender and race, not qualifications, understands this now fully, that she is completely incompetent and unable to fulfill the role. So my hope is that that incompetence will preclude her from replacing the puppet, the weekend at Biden's, the personification of a dead man walking, Joe Biden. Thank you, and I hope you had a chance to view that, his address on Afghanistan, and I hope that you had a chance to view several things the last couple of days, including when he met with the Israeli ambassador in the White House, and he basically fell asleep. No matter how they try to disguise it or cover it up, if he wasn't asleep, he gave the impression of being asleep, and guess what? Can't give that impression. Okay? You have to look like you're interested, and he certainly did not look like he was interested. At the very least, I think he was asleep. You can't, when you're asked a question by Ducey from Fox, do this in front of the world when you're addressing a critical situation like the debacle that was Afghanistan. And this was Joe Biden's reaction. This is what he told the world: I am the President of the United States. Talk about body language. Talk about a message. Russia, China. You know what they're saying? Weak, old, decrepit man. Weak, old, and decrepit.